And knowing his humble ways, he wouldn't stand up here and brag about it. But I can brag about it for him. And it's an honor to serve with him. Your sheriff, Bruce Haney.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I want to briefly just go down the line here. This is something that's, I think, a bit unprecedented. We started them last fall up in Siskiyou County, and I'll give you a little bit of history of that. But first, I'd like to introduce Sheriff John Lope, the Sheriff of Siskiyou County. Sheriff Tom Allman of Mendocino County. Sheriff Dave Hincrat, Tehama County. Sheriff Mike Poindexter of Modoc County. Sheriff Dean Wilson of Del Norte County. Thank you. I know how busy I am. I know how busy you guys are. Thank you for coming and attending this afternoon. I have some additional things to put out too. Commissioner Ronnie Rardin of, you don't need to stand, Ronnie Rardin of Otero County, New Mexico. You may be wondering, you have 5 sheriffs that don't get voted for in this county. You have a commissioner from out of New Mexico, and you'll find out why and what he has to say and the information that he can provide to us. You know, why are we here? I'm going to get into a little bit of history from my perspective in just a second. Richard Seal, thank you so much for arranging and taking care of Danny and Commissioner Rardin. Liz Bowen, thank you. She's going to be speaking to you also, and she is quite an organizer. Trinity County Patriots, thank you for putting this on, and inviting us. I really want to thank the Trinity County Sheriff's Auxiliary. It's grown exponentially in the last year and continues to grow, and really looking forward to the services that they're going to be able to assist the Sheriff's Department with as volunteers. Funds are scarce and they're becoming scarcer, and so volunteer programs are becoming more and more, not only more popular, but we need them because we just don't have the funds to do what we used to do. Who here is from out of Trinity County? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming to Trinity County and supporting us. Doug, thank you. Thank you, Doug Knox, for hosting a couple weeks ago up in El Turris. Thank you, sir. They're not here. Oh, yeah. Loma, Wharton, and Ray Kapitka. Josephine County, Oregon, right? No? Which? Douglas County, Oregon. It's interesting that what you're going to hear, and you're going to hear it. We have someone from New Mexico. You're going to have sheriffs from Northern California. We have individuals from Oregon. You're going to find out that a lot of the issues that are facing rural America aren't just happening here. They're happening everywhere. And that's why we're here today. Let me give you a little history, and this is going to be from my perspective because I'm a new sheriff. There's other sheriffs up here that have been sheriffs longer than I have. But shortly after becoming sheriff, probably within a month or two, I went to a California State Sheriff's Association meeting. And Sheriff Tom Allman from Mendocino County had brought up some issues regarding Mendocino National Forest, some of the things he was dealing with, and suggested to the president that we form a public lands committee. Now, it got my attention because I know that close to 80% of Trinity County is public land. But the idea was somewhat dismissed and he wasn't really given much attention. Over the next few months, things started coming to our attention. Initially, what I recall was Sheriff Greg Hagwood of Plumas County, who apologizes for not being here. He had a prior commitment. But he had sent an email out wondering if anybody knew about what was called the Travel Management Plan, put together by the U.S. Forest Service. And so we all began kind of discussing it. A short time after that, we were all contacted by Sheriff John Lopi of Siskiyou County, talking about how they were talking about removing the dams along the Klamath River, about water right issues, about different state and federal agencies putting fish counters on creeks on private land. And, you know, his concern was real. He stated that the people of Siskiyou County were looking at losing generational farms and ranches if these dams were removed, if water rights were taken away. And we kind of got together, and I remember calling John and say, John, you know, I'm in Trinity County, what can I do? And he said, you know what, I'll let you know. Because what's affecting Siskiyou County, maybe today, is very likely going to affect Trinity County and the other counties as well at some point. Well, I'd probably say it was last fall, he contacted us and said, we're going to have a Defend Rural America conference in Wairika at the fairgrounds. Would you come up and support us? And I said, absolutely. Before we knew it, I think, what did we end up with, six? 6 sheriffs from 8? 8 sheriffs. Oh, we had 2 from Oregon as well. 2 sheriffs from Oregon. And an attorney. You always got to have an attorney there. But what we were recognizing was that by staying in communication with each other, we were watching federal and state agencies taking license to enforce regulations without going through proper procedures, which was talking to local government to see how that was going to affect either public safety or the economy. So we met up there. It was amazing to hear, even though our issues may be a little different, they're very much the same, because they are from agencies outside this county or their county that we're affecting not only our public safety but our economies as well. So why did the sheriffs get involved? And why are there 5 sheriffs from? You're not going to vote for these guys, right? Because they live in another county, or maybe they live in your county. You may vote for them. We got involved because our job is public safety. That's what we do. What you'll do is you'll end up hearing from each one of these sheriffs as this goes on, and you'll find out what maybe particular issues they're having with different agencies in their county. But for Trinity County right now, as we enter a new fire season, our forests are of grave concern to me as a public safety officer. Let me give credit to the prior Board of Supervisors and our existing ones. They have done their work as far as putting resolutions, ordinances into place to try and protect this community and have, in this case it's the Forest Service, help thin out the forest and help mitigate some of the fire danger. I mentioned the travel management plan. That's another thing that we're looking at. The different agents, the Forest Service in particular, because that's who the primary public land manager is here, is looking at closing roads, decommissioning some, but the concern for me as the sheriff is I need access to the forest at times. Last fall was unprecedented for search and rescues for us, for lost hunters. I think we had about 6 to 8. Without those roads, we don't have access to the backcountry. Also, the roads are of great importance for fire suppression. We need those roads, and they've been in existence for quite some time. And what you're going to find out is as you talk to some of the issues that the sheriffs will bring up, but some of the information that Commissioner Rardin will provide on what Otero County has done, because they have that too. They have, what was it, the #1 driest forest in the United States, right? Yeah, so in other words, fire is a constant danger. We live in an ecosystem where we're never going to get away with that. We're away from that. But there's no reason why we can't responsibly harvest timber, thin our forests, which guess what, would also provide some revenue to county departments so I can provide better public safety. So these are some of the issues that we're going to talk about. One of the things that came up was coordination. I don't know if anybody's really aware of that, but the first time I heard that, they said, well, you know, these agencies are supposed to coordinate with local government. Coordination was something that I would use to determine whether I had a drunk driver or not when I pulled him out of the car. You know, if he couldn't balance out, then, or somebody with great coordination is a good athlete. So this has been a learning process and will continue to be for me, and I'm sure for the other sheriffs. I feel that I will always be a student of not only my profession, but of the law and how I go about enforcing that. One of the things I've had a couple discussions now with the Board of Supervisors is that I'm forming it's called the Sheriff's Public Safety and Coordination Advisory Team. And it's going to consist of members of the public. Some may have an expertise in fire suppression. Some may have an expertise in forest management. Some may just like to ride their quad on public lands or whatever. I want a very diverse membership in the group. And the way I'm going to do that is we're going to start flying some articles in the paper. People are going to submit letters to my office. We thought email, but I get close to 100 emails a day, and it's really hard for me to keep up with them. So I think a letter is going to be much more effective and something that I can put my hands on. Now, as we talk about these various agencies and some of the issues we're having with them, we also have very good working relationships with some of them in other ways as well. The Ruth fire last summer was a good example of that. That was a small fire. You know, if there was anybody here, I think we lost about 5 houses, which is a lot, especially if it's your house. But it taxed the sheriff's department to its limits to provide the public safety that was necessary to, one, do the evacuations. And once we do those evacuations, we become responsible for the property protection of that property because we've told you to get out of your house. So you leave your house, we need to make sure, to the best of our ability, that that property is safe and people aren't going to come and loot your house. And we called upon CHP. We called upon U.S. Forest Service law enforcement. And because we had to also guard the aircraft that was at the Flying AA airport. So we have working relationships. We have some issues with some agencies as well. And so my goal is to work these issues out, but we need to move forward. We need to move forward with thinning our force. We need to move forward with becoming more self-reliant and not relying on grants and government handouts to be, and we have a renewable resource here. You drive by the mill and you see the logs stacked up, and from what I understand, that some of those logs are from British Columbia. I mean, they're not even, and we have that resource here. So those are going to be some of the issues that we need to address. And what's going to be interesting, and again, thank you, Commissioner Rardin, for coming here, because they've been fighting this battle. They've been fighting this battle for years, and we want to jump on your coattails. That's what we want to do. A lot of these gentlemen have commitments. They had commitments this morning, and they also have commitments this evening. So I'm going to pass this on. I'm going to let them tell you a little bit about what's going on in their county. I may comment in between, but some of these gentlemen have to take off fairly soon, so we're gonna get this moving. And I think first of all, I'll pass the microphone to Sheriff Hincrat from Tehama County.